welcome back to my YouTube channel. So if you have not checked out my chinchilla care guide, make sure to check out this video because I am doing a series where I go into even more detail on each one of those topics in that video. So make sure to check out that video. It will be in the cards and in the description below. Are you done? So today, as you can see by my guest demonstrating, we will be talking about wheels. Now, a lot of chinchilla owners like to add wheels or flying saucers to their chinchilla's cage because it provides additional exercise and entertainment while they are in the cage. However, this is 100% completely optional because there are a few issues and controversies with adding wheels to your cage. So make sure you do all of your own research and do not just rely on this video or my videos in general to make a decision for yourself. Now, let me get into the controversies of a wheel. Now, the first issue is chinchillas have very thick coats. It's like they're wearing winter coats that they can never take off. So when they are running, especially in a warm environment, they can overexert themselves and get heat stroke very easily. So if you do decide to have a wheel in your chinchilla's cage, make sure they are in a very cool environment. I would suggest at least minimum 70 degrees or below. The colder, the better. If your chinchilla starts to show signs of heat stroke, make sure you contact your vet to make sure that everything is all right. But I would highly suggest you take the wheel out of the cage. The next problem is chinchillas will become obsessed with running on the wheel. It's like that's all they want to do. They'll just keep running and running and running all night long, all day long. That's all they want to do is run on the wheel. This can cause drastic weight loss, which is not good for any animal. So the best way to tell, obviously, if they are consistently running on the wheel, but if they start losing weight, you are going to want to take their wheel out as well. So it might be advisable for you to start weighing your chinchilla, if you do not already, when you add a wheel to your cage to make sure they are not drastically losing weight. The last major issue with wheels is that they are actually quite dangerous. Because they are a moving part in your cage. Oh my god, run faster. You done? Great. The last major issue with wheels is that they can be quite dangerous. Because they are a moving part in your cage, a lot can go wrong. First of all, if there are any sharp edges or grooves, or if you have a mesh wheel of any sort, they can get their toes stuck in those grooves, and because the wheel is moving, it can essentially amputate their toes, and nobody wants that. On top of that, they can fall or trip in the wheel and either get flung out of the wheel or be forced to ride the wheel because of the centrifugal force pushing them outwards. They will not be able to get out of the wheel. They'll just generally be stuck going around and around and around. So wheels are kind of like roller coasters, but without the seatbelt. So you just want to be careful and keep an eye on your chinchilla, and you also need to know the risk when putting a wheel into your chinchilla's cage. It is also more likely for them to be more clumsy and for these problems to happen more often if they are not used to it. So when you first put your wheel into their chinchilla's cage, they might have some issues and they might get thrown out of the wheel as well. So you also want to make sure when you first put your wheel in there that they are not running too fast and getting flown out of the wheel. Now, after doing all of your own research, if you decide that a wheel is right for you and your chinchilla, I have a few tips for you. Now, there are two different kinds of exercise wheels. You have your standard wheel and you have a flying saucer. I would highly suggest you get a standard wheel over a flying saucer because first of all, it takes up less space in your cage. So a standard wheel is more upright, where you have your flying saucer that needs to be on an angle. This will take up more floor space than your standard wheel. On top of that, because it is on an angle, a lot of people believe that this can cause strain to a chinchilla's joints because they are constantly running on an angle. And in addition, it is fully open, so there is a higher chance that your chinchilla can get flung and cause injury versus a wheel that only has that one opening. Now, as you can tell, I am more inclined to use a standard wheel, so let's talk about safe wheel options. So first off, you need to understand that a chinchilla does more of a leaping run versus a trotting run that a hamster does, so they need enough room to do that. You're also going to want a chinchilla's spine to be more flat while they're running. You don't want them to be curved. I can't do that with my hand. Curved. Chinchillas should have a wheel of a diameter of 14 to 16 inches. The wheel should also be about 4 inches deep to provide enough space for them to run on. This base should also be a solid base. There should not be any holes or grooves or anything sharp that your chinchilla's feet can become injured or get stuck in. Yeah. You want to avoid that. Now, I would suggest you get a wheel that is either made out of wood or metal, but I believe that having a metal wheel is probably going to be a lot less of a hassle because your chinchilla's not going to chew on it or damage it by peeing on it. I think a metal wheel is going to be a lot easier for you to clean and deal with. When you are getting a wheel, you want to make sure that it can attach to the side of your cage, or if you have a very sturdy, heavy base, and that there is no chance that your wheel will fall over while your chinchilla is running in it, because that can cause a lot of issues and injury to your chinchilla. So make sure it is attachable to your cage or a very, very solid base to your wheel, and make sure it will not fall over. Now, there are some wheels on the market that are great for chinchillas. The most common is probably the chin spin, which is what I have here. It has a wooden back and then the rest of it is metal. So this is great because it has a solid bottom. However, it is a little bit more on the noisy side, so I would also suggest you look into Pandemonium Pets wheels. Pandemonium Pets has their extra soundless spinner collection, which from the reviews I have found is quieter than a chin spin. They also have cheaper options. They have a wheel that is ranked at $20 that you might be interested in if you are on a budget. The last one is not as common as these two other wheels, but it is called the Silver Surfer. I believe this has come on to Chewy, so you can get it off of Chewy. I believe that this only comes in the 14-inch, so it's a little bit smaller than the chin spin, but it is still an appropriate size. Just make sure that you are getting an aluminum one and not a plastic one. I'm not sure if they offer any plastic options. Make sure it is the metal option. These are your safe wheel options. Now let's talk about your unsafe wheel options. First of all, you do not want to get a wheel that is smaller than 14 inches in diameter. And that is because it will cause a curvature in the spine, which will end in very obviously spinal issues, which you do not want to deal with down the line. So make sure you are getting an appropriately sized wheel. The next unsafe wheel option is those wheels that have a wire mesh instead of a solid metal base for running. And the reason why this is unsafe is because your chinchilla's toes can get stuck in those holes, and because the wheel is spinning so quickly, they can get stuck and even get chopped off. You know, you want to avoid that. The last unsafe wheel option is anything that is plastic. If you have seen this wheel, for example, this is a silent spinner. This is probably one of the most common wheels you will find at a pet store, and this is probably the biggest wheel that they will have at that pet store. This is 100% unsafe for a chinchilla. First of all, it is plastic, so if they consume it, it can cause impaction, which can be fatal. Next, it is the inappropriate size. It needs to be 14 inches or larger. They typically come in, I believe, 11 or 12, which is too small. Lastly, they have a groove where the two pieces of plastic meet that your chinchilla's toes can also get stuck in and cause injury to your chinchilla, which again, we want to avoid that. Now, if you need more information about chinchilla care, make sure to check out my chinchilla care guide, linked in the description below. It talks about everything you need to know to care for a chinchilla and even has a shopping list so that you get everything you need. Now, like I said at the beginning of this video, wheels are 100% optional because, again, a lot can go wrong with them. And if this information has turned you away from wheels, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell, because in my future videos, I'm going to talk about different cage accessories that can replace a wheel that are a little bit more of a safer option. And while you guys wait for those videos, make sure to check out these videos next. And I will see you guys in the next one. She's very stressed out because I'm near her speaking. Okay.
What are you freaking out for? You don't run on your wheel this much. So,